The courtroom was busy that morning. People were talking, papers were moving, and the sound of footsteps filled the room. But everything became quiet when the door opened and a teenage boy walked inside. His name was Adam, a 17-year-old with calm eyes and a serious face. He walked slowly, holding a small notebook in his hand. Everyone in the room stared at him. A man near the wall whispered, "Why is a kid here alone?" Another woman said, "Where are his parents? Where is his lawyer?" Adam did not look left or right. He walked straight to the defense table and sat down. His face showed no fear. He placed his notebook on the table and waited. At that moment, the judge entered. Judge Harrison, a strict man with white hair, looked annoyed the moment he saw Adam. He sat in his high chair and looked down at the boy with a mocking smile. "Is this a joke?" the judge said loudly. "Who allowed a teenager to sit at the defense table? Where is your lawyer, boy?" Adam stood up slowly. His voice was soft but clear. "I am representing myself, Your Honor." The entire courtroom gasped. Some people laughed. Some shook their heads. The prosecutor smiled in a cruel way. The judge raised his eyebrows. "Representing yourself? Do you even know where you are standing?" "Yes, Your Honor," Adam replied calmly. "I know exactly where I am." The judge leaned back in his chair, still amused. "So you think you can fight a legal case alone? This is not a school quiz, boy. This is court." Adam only nodded and sat back down. The prosecutor, Mr. Collins, opened his folder and spoke loudly so the room could hear. "Your Honor, I request we move fast. This child clearly has no understanding of legal matters. It will be an easy case." Everyone laughed again. But Adam did not react. He simply opened his small notebook and started flipping pages. His hands were steady, his eyes sharp. The judge noticed this and frowned. "What is in that notebook? A diary?" "No, sir," Adam answered. "Just something important." Mr. Collins smirked. "Important? What can be important for a child?" Adam looked at him for the first time. His eyes were cold. It was the kind of look that made grown men uncomfortable. The judge began the session. "Fine. Let us start. The prosecutor will speak, and the child can try to understand." Mr. Collins started reading his statements. He talked fast, hoping Adam would get nervous. But Adam listened quietly, not missing a single word. Suddenly, his eyebrows moved slightly. Something was wrong in the papers. When the prosecutor finished, Adam slowly raised his hand. The judge sighed. "Yes, boy." "What now?" Adam answered. "Your Honor, may I point out something?" The judge waved his hand lazily. "Go on. Let us hear this child's wisdom." Adam stood up and spoke in a calm voice. "Mr. Collins just said the incident happened on January 10th. But the police report in his file says January 12th. That is a 2-day difference. One of them is wrong." Silence froze the room. People turned toward the prosecutor. The prosecutor checked his papers, and his face turned red. He did not expect the boy to notice such a detail. The judge looked surprised. "How do you know this? Did someone tell you?" Adam shook his head. "No, Your Honor. I read the papers." Judge Harrison stared at him for a long moment. His mocking smile slowly faded. This boy was not normal. Still, the judge did not want to show fear or respect. "A lucky catch," he said. "Do not get too excited." But inside, the judge was thinking, how did this child see the mistake when the prosecutor did not? Adam sat down again and looked at his notebook. Nobody laughed now. The courtroom was quiet. For the first time, people felt something unexpected. Curiosity. Who was this boy? How could he stay so calm? And why did he know things that even adults missed? The judge cleared his throat and continued the session, but his eyes kept going back to Adam. Something about the boy felt different. Something dangerous, something powerful. Judge Harrison's face was tight with annoyance. He did not like the idea that a teenager had corrected the prosecutor in front of a full courtroom. It made him feel weak, and judges hate looking weak. He leaned forward and tapped his pen on the desk. "All right, boy," he said coldly. Since you think you understand everything, let me ask you a few questions myself. Adam looked up calmly. Yes, Your Honor. Everyone watched closely. The judge wanted to test him. The prosecutor wanted to embarrass him. And the people in the courtroom wanted to see what Adam would do next. Judge Harrison asked the first question. Do you understand what burden of proof means? A quiet laugh came from the back of the room. The prosecutor smirked confidently. Let's see if the kid knows even the basics, he whispered to his assistant. Adam thought for only a second. Then he answered in a soft but clear voice. Yes, Your Honor. It means the prosecutor must prove I am guilty. Not the other way around. The judge's pen stopped tapping. The prosecutor's smile disappeared. Adam continued, In this case, Mr. Collins must show real evidence. Without it, there is no case. Some people in the courtroom nodded, surprised that the boy explained it so simply. Judge Harrison tried again. Fine. But do you know what a motion is? Yes, Adam replied. It is a request made to the court. A lawyer or defendant gives it to the judge to take a specific action. The judge squinted his eyes. This kid knew basic law better than half the adults he had seen. The prosecutor stepped forward quickly. Your Honor, if I may, I would like to test the boy myself. Go ahead, the judge said. Mr. Collins walked toward Adam with a confident smile. He loved breaking people, and breaking a teenager would be a sweet victory for him. He slammed a thick file on the table in front of Adam. This, he said loudly, is a legal document. Can you explain what's written in Section 4B? Everyone leaned closer. It looked like a trap. Adam opened the file slowly. He read for a few seconds, then looked up. It says the witness statement was changed 2 days after the original. That means the witness may not be reliable. Gasps filled the courtroom. The prosecutor's face turned pale. He grabbed the file and checked the page himself. Adam was right again. But this time, Adam did not stop. He said, Also, Your Honor, the prosecutor did not tell the court about this change. That is important information. Judge Harrison's eyes went wide. He looked at the prosecutor. Is this true, Mr. Collins? Mr. Collins coughed nervously. Well, it is a small thing, not important. Adam shook his head slowly. It is important, because if a witness changes their words, it means they might be lying. The courtroom buzzed with shock. The judge raised his voice. Order! Order! He banged his gavel loudly, but even he could not hide his surprise. This was no normal teenager. The prosecutor felt cornered. His pride was breaking. So he switched strategies. He began mocking Adam. Oh, so you think you're a lawyer now? Tell me, boy, who taught you all this? YouTube videos? School textbooks? Comic books? People laughed again, but this time, the laughter felt uncomfortable. Adam did not react. He only said, I taught myself. The prosecutor shook his head. Impossible. A child cannot learn law alone. Adam looked straight into his eyes. A child can learn anything if he has a reason. The room fell silent. There was something strong in Adam's voice. Something painful. Something personal. The judge tried one last time to break him. Tell me, Adam, the judge said in a softer but sharper tone, why are you fighting this case alone? Where is your lawyer? Adam closed his notebook and looked down for a moment. Then he lifted his head. His eyes were full of quiet strength. My lawyer is gone, he said. He was my father. The courtroom froze. The judge leaned back, speechless. The prosecutor looked confused. People in the room whispered in shock. Adam continued, He taught me to never give up, even if the world stands against me. The judge swallowed hard. For the first time, he had nothing to say. Adam sat back in his chair. Calm. Silent. Unbroken. The prosecutor, however, was shaken. He had planned to embarrass a child. But instead, the child had embarrassed him. And the fight had only just begun. The courtroom felt different now. The air was heavier, the silence thicker. Everyone who had laughed before was no longer smiling. They watched Adam with new eyes, eyes filled with curiosity and a little bit of fear. Judge Harrison cleared his throat. He wanted to take control again, but something inside him felt shaky. He had never met a boy like Adam. "Prosecutor Collins," the judge said, "continue your questioning." Mr. Collins nodded, but his confidence was gone. His hands shook slightly as he lifted the file again. He glanced at Adam, hoping to see fear. But Adam sat straight, hands folded, expression calm. Like he had been here many times before. Mr. Collins forced a smile. "All right, boy. Let's see if your knowledge is real. Do you have any questions for me?" Adam looked up slowly. "Yes, I do." The prosecutor's smile faded. Adam stood and walked toward the center of the courtroom. Everyone leaned forward. His voice was quiet but powerful. "Mr. Collins, on what date did the main witness claim he saw the incident?" The prosecutor blinked. "That's easy. January 10th. Adam tilted his head. "And on which date was the witness's statement changed?" Mr. Collins' jaw tightened. "January 12th. Adam nodded. "Good. Now, tell the court why the witness changed his statement." The prosecutor froze. He opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again, but no answer came out. Adam waited. The judge watched closely. The courtroom was silent, waiting for something big. Finally, Mr. Collins spoke. "The witness remembered things differently later." Adam shook his head gently. "No, that's not true." A few people gasped. Adam continued, "The truth is, the witness changed his statement after speaking to someone from your office." Mr. Collins' face turned red. "How dare you?" Adam raised a hand. "I am only asking a question. If I am wrong, please tell the court who the witness met on January 11th. The prosecutor's lips trembled. He had no answer. Judge Harrison leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Mr. Collins, is this correct? Did your office speak to the witness before the statement changed?" The prosecutor wiped sweat from his forehead. "Your Honor, I need to check the records." That was as good as a confession. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Adam took another step forward. "I have another question," he said. Mr. Collins looked like he wanted to run away, but he nodded. Adam asked, "You said you have strong evidence against me. Can you show the court that evidence?" The prosecutor grabbed a folder and opened it. He pointed at a photograph. This is you near the scene." Adam walked closer and calmly looked at the picture. After 3 seconds, he asked, "Where is the timestamp?" The prosecutor blinked. "What?" "The timestamp," Adam repeated. "Every photograph used as evidence must show date and time. This picture has neither." People gasped again. Judge Harrison frowned. "Is this true?" "There is no timestamp." The prosecutor checked the picture closely. His fingers shook. He realized Adam was right. "No timestamp," the judge said slowly. "That means this picture proves nothing." Mr. Collins tried to speak, but no words came. Adam stepped back and continued calmly. "Your Honor, I have one final question for the prosecutor." The judge nodded. "Go ahead." Adam looked directly into Mr. Collins' eyes. "Why did you bring weak evidence to court? Is it because you know the truth? Or because you think a child cannot defend himself?" The prosecutor's face fell. For the first time in his career, he felt scared. The judge turned to the prosecutor. "Mr. Collins, answer the boy." But the prosecutor said nothing. He simply stood there, defeated. A soft murmur spread across the courtroom. People whispered, "This boy is something else. He talks like a real lawyer. How does he know all this?" Adam quietly returned to his seat. His notebook lay open, pages filled with neat handwriting and underlined laws. He wasn't fighting like a child. He was fighting like someone trained, someone sharp, someone dangerous. Judge Harrison watched him carefully. This boy, this quiet, calm, focused boy, was turning the entire courtroom upside down. And the judge felt something he had not felt in years. the fear of losing control. The battle was no longer simple. And Adam was only getting started. The courtroom was no longer the same place it had been an hour ago. The tension had changed. The energy had shifted. People who had come expecting a boring case were now sitting on the edge of their seats. All because of one teenager, Adam. Judge Harrison tried to maintain control, but he could feel the courtroom slipping away from him. Adam had exposed the prosecutor's weakness again and again. And now, the judge needed answers, real answers. He cleared his throat. "Adam," he said in a firm voice, "the court understands you have questions. But now I want you to explain something. How do you know so much? Where did you learn these details?" Adam looked down at his notebook, touched its cover softly, then looked up. "I learned by reading, Your Honor," he said. "But not just books. I studied real cases, old trials, my father's notes." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Your father's notes?" Adam nodded slowly. "My father was an attorney. He used to study late at night. I would sit beside him and watch. I learned the pattern of his questions. I learned how he searched for truth." The courtroom listened silently. No one blinked. Every word felt heavy, like it carried a story behind it. Before the judge could respond, Adam spoke again. "Your Honor, may I continue with something important?" Judge Harrison nodded. Adam stood, holding a paper from the prosecutor's file. He lifted it high enough for everyone to see. "This is the witness's second statement," he said. "The one changed on January 12th. Mr. Collins stiffened. Adam continued calmly, "There is something strange here. Something nobody noticed." The judge leaned forward. "What exactly?" Adam pointed at the bottom corner of the page. "There is a signature from the witness. But this signature does not match the original one." The prosecutor's eyes widened. His hands clenched tightly. Adam walked toward the judge's bench and handed both documents to him. "Your Honor, please compare them." Judge Harrison took his glasses, placed the papers side by side, and studied the signatures carefully. The courtroom was silent. Everyone held their breath. After a moment, the judge looked up, shocked. "They're different," he said quietly. "The second signature looks forced, shaky, maybe even copied." Whispers exploded through the courtroom again. Adam spoke louder now. "This means the second statement may not be real. Someone might have changed it on purpose." The judge looked at the prosecutor. "Mr. Collins, do you have an explanation for this?" The prosecutor stuttered. There must be a mistake." Adam stepped forward again, eyes sharp. "It is not a mistake," he said firmly. "The witness was pushed. Someone guided him to change his statement. Someone wanted the story to match the prosecutor's claim." Gasps filled the room. The prosecutor slammed his hand on the table. "This is nonsense. He's making up stories." But Adam did not even look at him. Instead, he walked slowly across the courtroom floor, each step calm and confident. "Your Honor," he said softly, "can I show something else?" "Go ahead," the judge replied. Adam opened his notebook and took out a small folded paper. "When I arrived today, the officer outside gave me a copy of the timeline. I checked everything. And something is missing." Judge Harrison asked, "Missing? What?" "The camera footage," Adam said. "There are security cameras near the place of the incident. But the prosecutor never mentioned them." A wave of shock spread across the room again. The judge looked frustrated. "Mr. Collins, is this true? Is there camera footage?" The prosecutor swallowed. "Well, yes, but the angle was not clear." Adam interrupted gently. "Not clear, or not useful for you?" The prosecutor's face turned bright red. Adam continued, "Because if the footage was shown, everyone would see that I was not even there at the time of the incident." The courtroom exploded into loud whispers. Judge Harrison banged his gavel. "Silence!" Adam stood straight, eyes filled with determination. "Your Honor," he said, "the truth is already here. The witness changed his story. The evidence is weak. And the footage was hidden." The judge stared at Adam with a mix of amazement and disbelief. This boy wasn't just smart. He was uncovering the truth piece by piece, like a real attorney. And now everyone knew. Something very big was coming next. The courtroom had transformed into a storm of shock and whispers. Every time Adam spoke, another truth came out. Every time he opened his notebook, something hidden was revealed. But no one expected what was coming next. Judge Harrison rubbed his forehead. He had dealt with difficult attorneys, angry criminals, and stubborn witnesses. But he had never faced a teenager who could dismantle a case with such calm precision. "Adam," the judge said, voice low but steady, "there is clearly more to this story than you are telling us. And the court needs to understand who you really are." Adam stood still for a moment. He looked down at his notebook. The same notebook he carried everywhere. The same notebook he never allowed anyone to touch. Then he slowly walked to the center of the courtroom. Everyone watched him. Every eye. Every breath. Even the prosecutor stopped fidgeting. He sensed something powerful coming. Adam spoke quietly, but his words carried across the entire room. "I was not planning to say this today. I wanted to win this case with facts only. But you keep asking who taught me, who trained me, how I know these things." He took a deep breath. "My father taught me." The room fell silent. Adam continued. "He was not only an attorney. He was one of the best defense lawyers in the city." Judge Harrison's eyes widened. He knew exactly who Adam was talking about. "Your father was Daniel Reed?" he asked softly. Adam nodded. A few people gasped. Even the prosecutor's face paled. Daniel Reed had been a legend in the legal world. A brilliant mind, a fearless defender. A man who won cases others thought impossible. He had died unexpectedly 2 years ago. Adam continued speaking. "When I was young, I used to sit beside him while he studied. I watched him prepare for trials. I watched him ask the right questions. I watched him fight for justice." His voice shook, but only for a moment. "When he passed away, I lost my father, my teacher, and my hero. But I kept his books. I kept his notes. And I promised myself one thing." He opened the notebook slowly. "This notebook is not mine. It belonged to him. Every page here, every law, every rule, every strategy, was written by my father." A soft murmur spread across the courtroom. Mr. Collins swallowed hard. He suddenly realized he was not facing a random teenager. He was facing the son of a legal icon. A boy who grew up breathing the law. Adam wiped a tear quickly, not wanting anyone to see. But the judge noticed. "Adam," Judge Harrison said gently, "you should have told us earlier." Adam shook his head. "No, Your Honor. If I said it at the beginning, people would say I was using my father's name. I wanted to prove myself. Not because I am Daniel Reed's son, but because I know the truth. And I know I did nothing wrong." The room grew still again. Adam stepped closer to the judge's bench. "My father always told me, the truth protects those who protect it. And that's why I came here today, to protect the truth." The judge stared at the notebook in Adam's hands. It felt like a symbol, a legacy, a promise kept by a young man. Then Adam turned toward the prosecutor. "And Mr. Collins," he said softly, "you tried to break me. You tried to make me feel small. But you didn't know I'm standing with everything my father taught me. That is why I see things others don't. That is why I question everything." Mr. Collins looked away. For the first time, guilt shadowed his face. Adam continued. "You hid the camera footage. You ignored the changed statement. You wanted the case to be easy. But the truth is never easy." The judge raised a hand. "Adam, what is it you want the court to understand?" Adam closed the notebook and held it tightly. "I want the court to understand that I am not here to win an argument. I am here to stand for justice. That is what my father believed in. That is what he taught me. And that is what I will always follow." The judge leaned back, deeply moved. The courtroom was completely silent. But everyone felt the same thing. Respect. Respect for the boy. Respect for the truth. And respect for the legacy he carried. Adam walked back to his seat slowly. His father's notebook pressed against his heart. He had revealed who he truly was. The courtroom was no longer just a room. It felt like a battlefield where truth and lies were fighting. On one side stood the prosecutor, sweating, shaking, and confused. On the other side sat Adam, calm, steady, holding his father's notebook like a shield. Judge Harrison looked tired but alert. He finally understood what was happening. This was not just a normal case. This was a fight between a boy carrying truth and a system trying to silence him. "Adam," the judge said, "you may continue." Adam stood up slowly. His voice was soft, but every word struck the room like thunder. "Your Honor, I want to show the court the truth that was hidden." He walked toward the big screen used for evidence display. The entire courtroom leaned forward. Adam took a USB drive from his pocket. "The officer outside gave me a copy of the footage this morning. He said every defendant has the right to review it." The prosecutor jumped up. "No. That footage must be verified." Adam interrupted gently. "It already is." The officer gave both copies, the prosecutor's and the original. Judge Harrison raised a hand. "Let the boy show it." Adam plugged in the USB. The screen lit up. A blurry street appeared. A few cars passed. People walked around. Then, a figure came into view. The prosecutor smiled nervously. "That's you, boy. That's you near the scene." Adam shook his head. "No. Look carefully." He paused the video. Zoomed in. The room held its breath. The figure in the video was taller, older, wearing a jacket Adam never owned. Adam spoke quietly. "That is not me." A wave of shock spread across the room. He played the footage again. The timestamp read 7:12 p.m. Adam turned to the judge. "Your Honor, at 7:12 p.m. that evening, I was in a library. I have proof." He held up a library card slip. The date and time were clearly printed. Judge Harrison checked it, then nodded slowly. "This is valid." Mr. Collins panicked. This does not prove anything." Adam walked toward him. "Mr. Collins, you said you had strong evidence. But every piece of your evidence was wrong, or changed. The witness changed his story. The signature is different. The photo has no timestamp. And the footage clearly shows someone else." The prosecutor froze. He had nothing left. Judge Harrison banged his gavel. "Mr. Collins, step forward." The prosecutor walked slowly to the bench, head down. The judge spoke firmly. "You ignored important information. You hid footage. You brought weak evidence. This court cannot accept this." Mr. Collins trembled. He knew his career was in danger. Adam stepped beside him and spoke softly. "You tried to win by force. But the truth always wins." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Harrison raised the gavel again. "Order. This court is ready to make a decision." Silence fell. The judge took a deep breath, then looked directly at Adam. "Adam Reed," he said, "you are proven innocent. All charges against you are dismissed." The courtroom exploded in applause. Adam closed his eyes for a moment, as if letting the weight fall off his shoulders. Then he opened them again, stronger than before. Judge Harrison continued. "You stood alone. You defended yourself like a trained attorney. Your father would be proud." Adam felt a sudden warmth in his chest. For the first time that day, he allowed himself a small smile. People in the courtroom whispered, "He's amazing. He's a genius. He's the son of Daniel Reed." Adam walked back to his table, picked up the notebook, and held it close. As he walked toward the exit, people moved aside, giving him space. Some nodded in respect. Some patted his shoulder. Some just stared in awe. At the door, Adam stopped and looked back one last time. He whispered softly, "Dad, I did it." Then he walked out of the courtroom, not as a scared teenager, not as a defendant, but as someone stronger than anyone expected. A symbol of truth, courage, and legacy. A hero.